You ever have one of those moments where you know exactly what you're supposed to do? Like, you've even promised yourself, this time I'm going to do it. And then you do the complete opposite. It's just so frustrating. Well, let's dive into that, because today we're going to unpack a really powerful and maybe even surprising solution to that exact struggle.
I mean, that's really what it feels like, isn't it? You're in your little boat. You're paddling as hard as you can to go in the right direction, to be a better person. But it feels like this massive current is just pushing you right back where you started. It can feel impossible. But listen, you are not alone in feeling this way. In fact, you're in some pretty amazing company.
And get this, that quote isn't from some modern self-help guru. That is the Apostle Paul, one of the most important figures in all of Christian history, describing the exact same frustrating loop. It's his really honest moment that shows, hey, this internal battle, it's just a core part of being human.
So yeah, this whole experience has a name. We're calling it the upstream struggle. You're in a boat and you're trying to paddle against this crazy strong current of, sin, the world, your own temptations. So the big question is, why is it so ridiculously hard?
Well, it turns out the problem isn't just one thing. It's actually two totally distinct, really powerful obstacles that we're all up against. And honestly, understanding these two parts is the absolute key to unlocking God's solution.
So here's the dilemma laid out perfectly. On one side, you've got the desire problem. Let's be real for a second. Sometimes we don't even want to change. The wrong thing can seem pretty fun and appealing in the moment. But then there's the second issue, the ability problem. Even when our heart is totally in the right place, when we genuinely want to do better, we find that we just can't. We don't have the strength. It's like we're caught in a trap.
So, how does God deal with that first problem, our stubborn lack of motivation? Well, He doesn't just order us to want the right things. No, His solution is way more brilliant. It's all about changing our hearts from the inside out. And the tool He uses is kind of like a super weapon for waking up a new desire inside of us. And you know what? It isn't fear or guilt or shame. It's something way, way more powerful.
And there it is, the big secret. The thing that actually makes us change is experiencing God's love. See, it's not about us trying to muster up all this love for God on our own. It's a response. When you finally start to get a glimpse of how much He loves you unconditionally, it just changes everything. That becomes the motivation that makes you actually want to turn the boat around.
And this is so crucial. It's God's goodness put on full display at the cross that leads us to truly change our minds and hearts. It's not about being scared into changing. It's about being loved into changing. When you see that kind of undeserved kindness, it just makes you want to live a different way.
Okay, so God's love gives us a brand new desire. That's awesome. But what about that second problem? What about those times we genuinely want to do the right thing, but we just can't? Well, don't worry. God has an answer for our weakness too.
So we're right back to Paul's dilemma. This is the cry of someone who has the want to, but lacks the power to. It's that gut-wrenching feeling of making a sincere promise to God only to fall flat on your face again. But right here, in this place of total weakness, is where God's solution is the most incredible.
And boom, here's the answer. God doesn't just say, good luck, try harder. No, He gives us the Holy Spirit to strengthen what the Bible calls our inner being. That part of us that actually wants to do what's right. It's like a divine power boost that works from the inside out.
There's this incredible story in the Bible that shows this perfectly. A man had been paralyzed for 38 years. Think about that. And when Jesus told him to get up and walk, the man had to make a choice to act in faith. But in that very moment he chose to obey, the power to do the impossible just flowed right into him. It's the same for us. As we choose to take that step of faith, God provides the power. Now hold on, because there's one more amazing piece to this whole puzzle. And it's the ultimate encouragement. It's what gives us the confidence to even ask for this kind of help in the first place.
Just stop and think about what this is saying. Jesus didn't just watch humanity from up on a cloud somewhere. He lived it. He faced the same stuff we face, the temptation to be angry or selfish or to take the easy way out, but He won. And that means He doesn't look down on us when we struggle. He gets it perfectly.
I love this analogy. It's like Jesus isn't the frustrated teacher who's judging you for finding the class hard. No, He's the older sibling who already got a perfect score, and now He's sitting down right next to you, offering to help you through it because He knows exactly what it takes to pass.
So let's recap. We've got a new desire that comes from God's love and a new power that comes from His Spirit. But what does that actually look like day to day? How do we put this into practice? Let's break it down.
Okay, it really comes down to these 3 simple but super powerful steps. First, you have to actually experience God's love. That means intentionally thinking about what He did on the cross. Second, you got to tap into the Spirit's power. When you're tempted, you just admit, I can't do this, and ask for His help. And third, always remember you're not alone. Talk to Jesus about your struggles. He understands.
To bring this all home, there's one final picture that is just so helpful. To move your boat upstream, you can't just use one oar. It won't work. You need 2 oars, and they have to work together.
Okay, let's use a real-life example, like being addicted to social media. The faith oar, that's God's part. That's praying for strength, meditating on His love, trusting Him. But you also have to use the works oar, and that's your part. That means setting boundaries, asking a friend to keep you accountable, and replacing the bad habit with a good one. You need both.
And this is the absolute key. If you only use the faith oar, just praying but never taking action, you're just going to spin around in circles. But if you only use the works oar, trying to change all on your own, you're just going to get exhausted and give up. But when you use both together, trusting God while you take those steps of obedience, that's when you finally start making real progress upstream.
This promise just sums it all up, doesn't it? God's plan doesn't just forgive us, it actually transforms us. He meets us right where we are, in our weakness, in our lack of desire, and our lack of power. And He gives us exactly what we need to change.
So, the final question is really for you. We have access to this incredible divine help. You really don't have to paddle alone anymore. So will you grab both oars, your faith and your actions, and start moving forward with God today?